Hello everyone, welcome to another session of Autodesk Maya. Now we can remember we were talking about CV curve tool, which gives us the ability to revolve an object to get a symmetrical object that we have done in the lab sessions. And then we move on to the visor, which means how Maya allows us to create trees, grasses and everything. And we looked into dynamics and animations under the flag that we have created. Now today I move into a lesson called extruding, otherwise known as box modeling. Now the problem that we had in the revolving is that we could draw something from the CV curve tool, but it only gave us a symmetrical object. Now what if you want to create any object that you want to model in your 3D program? For example, if you want to model a vehicle or a PC or a house, whatever the case, you should be able to model irrespective of object being symmetrical or asymmetric. So this method is known as the box modeling. In Maya we commonly refer it to as extruding. So let me show you how it's done. Now before we do this, there are a couple of things that you need to understand. Extruding is done on a polygon object. So we discussed that there were two types, NURBS and polygons. So extruding is done on a polygon object. The other reason, if you take a polygon object, for example, if you go to create polygon primitives, let's say a cube, and if you draw a cube like this on your viewport, there are a couple of parameters that you need to understand about this cube. The first thing is that how many faces are there. Now if you think about it, a cube will have 6 faces, and how many edges will be there. So these are edges. So if you count them, you will see there are 12 edges. And finally, how many vertices are there? Vertices means the corners. So if you think about it, there are 8 vertices. Now we should be able to manipulate this object either from the faces, either from the edges, or either from the vertices. How can we do that? Well, I can simply take my mouse pointer to the object, the polygon object that I want to modify, and right click and hold. If you right click and hold on the object, you get a list like this. Remember this menu when you are creating that wine glass? We did the same thing. And when you create that bottle in the class, we right click on the curve. Now I am right clicking on the object. Now when you right click on the object, you get a couple of modes. Currently the default mode is object mode, but we have the edge mode, vertex mode, vertex face mode, multi mode and UV mode. So I'm going to switch to face mode. If I drag this to face and let go, you can see the faces can be selected individually. I can select the faces of this cube individually, and also I can move it. If I press W to get the move tool, I can move it front to back, and if I press R key to get the scaling, I can scale it up and down. And if I get the E key to rotate, I can rotate this face as well. So you can see I can manipulate these faces by selecting on it, and also I can right click on it and go to edge mode. Now it allows me to select an edge of this object, just like this. Now when you select from an edge, you can move it up, down, or to the sides, and you can select multiple edges if you want. For example, I can use this one, this edge right here, hold down the shift key and select on the other edge. You can see that both edges are selected. I can move it up, down, and here also I can make it scale down or scale up, and I can switch to vertex mode, which basically gives me the ability to control this object using the vertices. So you can select a vertex, a corner, and move it up, down, or I can select multiple vertices using the shift key, move it up and down. And if you're done with editing of an object, you can switch to object mode. Now if you think about it, how many faces do we have? We originally had 6 faces, and if you think about it now, it also has 6 faces. How many edges we had? We had 12 edges. Now also we have 12 edges. We had 8 vertices. Now also we have 8 vertices. So even though we have modified this object using faces, vertices and edges, we really haven't changed the object. Still has the same number. Now one thing that you have to understand is, by keeping this object with the same number of faces, vertices and edges, we will never be able to create new object. So what we are looking for in extruding is a way to increase the number of faces, way to increase the number of edges, and also to increase the number of vertices. Let's see how we can do that. So I'm going to go to File and click on a new scene, and I'm going to create a polygon cube again. I want this cube to be exactly having the same width, height and depth, and it should be on the 0.0 of the grid. Now you know how to do that. You can go to the channel box right here and make sure translate X, Y, Z as 0, so it's exactly in the middle, and you can scroll down until you find something called inputs polyplane 1 or polycube 1, inputs polycube 1, and you can set the width, height, depth value. So I'm going to set the width, height, depth to 8, so I get a cube which is the same size from all the angles. Alright, so this is what I need. Now if I switch to the face mode, I can select a face to extrude. See, I have selected this face to extrude. Now I can extrude from a face or from a vertex or from edge, but extruding from a face is the easiest way to go. So I have selected a face. I'm in the face mode. I'm going to go to the modeling menu set. Make sure you are in the modeling menu set because you are modeling at the moment, and I can go to edit mesh. Now we are editing this mesh, so we are going to edit mesh, and under edit mesh you should find a command called extrude. Now there are a couple of things I need to highlight. If you're using an old version of Maya, you might find this extrude command under a section called face right here. You will find the extrude command right here, but in the newer version its extrude is right here. So if you click on it, you can note the keyboard shortcut is Ctrl E. So if you click on extrude, you should get a controller like this. Now we can see it has the boxes for scaling, arrows for the movement, and this circle represent the rotation, and I have poly extrude phase 1 property box as well. Now there are a couple of things that you need to follow. The first rule is that when we are extruding, we are only adding new faces or vertices or edges to the depth. Now depth in Maya means the Z axis. So we are going to add this to the Z axis. That means using the blue color. So I'm going to take my mouse pointer to the blue color arrow, wait until it gets highlighted in yellow, click and hold to isolate that or lock to that axis, and then move forward. And you can see it basically brings a whole new set of faces, edges and vertices. And then you can scale it down. You can see the boxes right here. So we never scale it down from the blue color box because that's the depth. We can use the red color and the green color boxes. So if I click on the green color box, I can scale it down like this. Okay, if I want to extrude from this face also, I can press Ctrl E, or I can go to edit mesh extrude, and then I can move it from that point onward, and I can click on one of these boxes. You can see I'm getting a small light blue color box in the middle, so I can use that to freely scale up and scale down, and I can press Ctrl E again, extrude it up, and click on something on the box, one of the boxes, and you can scale it down. Also you can rotate. You can click on one of these circles, the circle out in the outer rim, and you can rotate it up, down like this. So really, it's a matter of selecting the faces and having a plan where you want to have these new faces and then moving. Now we can do the same thing for multiple faces as well. Let's assume that I want to select this face right here, and with the shift key I'm going to select the other face. So you can see I have selected two faces with the shift key. Now if I go to edit mesh and click on extrude, and if I drag it out from the depth, you can see both sides are coming up. And if I do a change to one side, it's applied to both sides, just like that. And have you noted that in this time I have made it outside, I have dragged it always to the outside, but it doesn't have to be. I can put this to inside as well. Let me show you. Now if I select a face like this one, and if I press Ctrl E to extrude, rather than dragging it out, I can click on one of these boxes and set the outline first. So instead of dragging, I am setting the outline, and then I can press Ctrl E again to extrude from this point. Okay, and rather than taking it out, I can take it in as well, so it goes inside like that. And again I can press Ctrl E, set the outline and take it out. I can see I can either send a face to inside or I can send that face to outside. So if you think about it, what you need here is a good plan on what you want to create. If you have a plan, if you have a sketch that you have drawn already, you will be able to get the details that you want. Let me give you one more thing. If here, this space right here, if you press Ctrl E, if you take it out, imagine you want to divide this. You need to get more details. You can increase the number of divisions right here. Let's say if I type 8, you get 8 divisions and you can select them individually. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to create a spaceship using this method in the second part. So try this and open up the second video and see how I'm creating a spaceship. See you in the part 2.